Car number 5, 1971 Chevrolet Kingswood Estate. By 1971, Chevrolet had already built a reputation for putting brutal engines into vehicles that had no business carrying them. The Kingswood Estate was their top-tier full-size wagon. Chrome trim, woodside paneling, 3 rows of seating, the kind of car that showed up in family Christmas photos. Reportedly, a small number of Kingswood Estates, historians believe fewer than 40 units, were ordered from the factory with the RPOL 78 option. That was the 375 horsepower, 396 cubic inch V8. The same engine that appeared in the Chevelle SS, the same engine that quarter-mile racers used to destroy their competition on weekends. Imagine sitting in that third row as a child, your parents in the front seat, the radio on, and underneath the hood a racing engine barely contained by a chassis designed for grocery runs and camping trips. The problem wasn't the speed. The problem was what happened in a crash. Federal safety investigators, according to research compiled by automotive historians, determined that the weight distribution created by the L78 installation produced handling characteristics completely inconsistent with what a family vehicle should exhibit. In emergency lane change scenarios, the front heavy nose created a snap oversteer condition that contemporary drivers would have had almost no training to manage. General Motors, under pressure from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, reportedly agreed to a quiet recall program in 1972. Owners were told their vehicles required an emissions compliance update. What actually happened at the dealership, according to records examined by researchers decades later, was far more significant. The engines were replaced, the original L78 units were disposed of, and the vehicles were redocumented as standard Kingswood Estates with base power plants. Current estimated value of a verified documented L78 Kingswood Estate with original drivetrain. If one exists and can be authenticated, automotive appraisers have suggested figures exceeding $180,000. The combination of extreme rarity, factory documentation, and historical significance creates a perfect storm of collector value. The unanswered question that historians still debate: were all 40 units recalled, or did at least one slip through, documented with original paperwork, original engine, sitting in a barn somewhere in Middle America, its owner completely unaware of what they actually have? Car number 4, 1969 AMC Ambassador SST wagon with the 390 Go package. American Motors Corporation was the underdog of the American auto industry. They didn't have GM's budget. They didn't have Ford's reach. What they had was an engineering team willing to try things that the big manufacturers considered too risky. The Ambassador SST wagon was AMC's prestige offering. Long, elegantly proportioned, with a standard of interior finish that surprised buyers who expected AMC to feel cheap. In base form, it was a genuinely sophisticated family hauler. Then AMC's performance division made a decision that, according to automotive research, caught even their own safety engineers off guard. They made the 390 cubic inch V8, the same engine powering their AMX muscle car, available as a factory option in the Ambassador SST wagon. Not a dealer modification, not an aftermarket conversion, a factory-installed, build sheet documented option that any buyer could check off when ordering their new family station wagon. The output was rated at 315 horsepower. In the standard AMX, that engine weighed roughly 500 pounds and sat in a 2-door sports car platform designed around performance dynamics. In the Ambassador SST wagon, that same engine sat in a vehicle weighing nearly 4,400 pounds with a wheelbase stretched to carry 8 passengers, pulling against a rear suspension calibrated for cargo load, not high-speed cornering. Braking was the critical issue. Historical research indicates that the factory brake package on the Ambassador SST was not upgraded to match the performance capability of the 390 Go package. The stopping distance figures that safety researchers documented in period testing were, according to the language used in internal government correspondence of the era, categorically inconsistent with the published safety standards for passenger vehicles of this classification. AMC reportedly received a formal notice in 1970. The response, historical accounts suggest, was a combination of a discrete owner notification program and an agreement to discontinue the option for the 1971 model year. Many of the wagons that were brought in for service left without their original engines. Documented examples with matching numbers, 390 engines, and original Go package build sheets are extraordinarily rare. Estimated collector value for an authenticated survivor, $140,000 to $165,000, with the documentation being nearly as valuable as the vehicle itself. Car number 3, 1970 Dodge Monaco wagon. The Dodge Monaco wagon had two lives. In its official life, sensible, durable, a family station wagon sold to American households throughout the late 1960s. The kind of car you trusted. In its other life, it was something federal investigators reportedly weren't prepared to find. Chrysler had developed a police pursuit package for the Monaco sedan, 440 cubic inch engine, heavy-duty cooling, reinforced chassis, braking systems calibrated for high-speed law enforcement work. Every component built to a standard that exceeded anything in the civilian market. According to historical research, those components started appearing in civilian Monaco wagons through what former Chrysler employees later described as an irregular order process at certain dealerships in the Southwest. No disclosure. No warning. Families drove these wagons to school pickups and camping trips, completely unaware the vehicle under them was configured to Highway Patrol Interceptor specification. NHTSA's concern wasn't the power, it was the mismatch. A vehicle built for a trained law enforcement driver in the hands of a civilian family with no special training in normal traffic. The cleanup was quiet, vehicles repurchased, documentation revised. The paper trail for most of these cars simply stops. Historians believe between 15 and 30 entered civilian ownership. Records account for fewer than 8. Where are the others? Car number 2, 1972. Ford Country Squire, short version. The Country Squire was America's family wagon. Wood paneling, 3-way tailgate. It appeared in films and TV shows as the universal symbol of suburban domesticity, which makes what Ford reportedly installed in a small number of 1972 models almost impossible to believe. The 429 Cobra Jet, 370 horsepower. Officially, historians and dyno operators who've tested surviving units consistently document actual output significantly beyond that number. Ford's lawyers navigating the regulatory climate of the early 1970s had strong reasons to publish conservative figures. Historical research suggests a limited number of Country Squires received the 429 Cobra Jet not as a documented option, but as a production anomaly. An internal miscommunication about engine allocation, according to accounts from former assembly line workers interviewed years later. Standard window sticker, nothing indicating what was under the hood. Families drove these wagons completely unaware they were operating a vehicle that could reach highway speed in a time frame that would alarm a performance car driver today. When NHTSA reportedly became aware, the response was swift. Engines removed, records amended. The internal Ford memorandum that allegedly triggered the federal response has never been publicly produced. Researchers who filed Freedom of Information requests report the relevant records are either missing or exempt from disclosure. A properly documented survivor, if one exists, could exceed $250,000 at auction. The paper trail ends, and nobody has explained why. Car number 1, 1970 Plymouth Sport Suburban, short version. Federal investigators, according to historical research, reportedly referred to this one in internal communications as the situation in Plymouth. The Sport Suburban already had an aggressive identity for a family wagon. Bucket seats, muscle car trim language, designed for buyers who wanted utility without surrendering capability. What reportedly made it into a small number of 1970 models was the 446 pack. 3 two-barrel carburetors, 390 horsepower, officially rated. In the Roadrunner and GTX, that engine was already considered extreme. In a 4,600-pound station wagon built to carry a family of 7, it was something that, according to researchers who've examined period safety documentation, should never have left the factory. The throttle response of the six-pack was abrupt, sensitive, something experienced muscle car drivers learned to manage carefully. In a vehicle this size, driven by someone expecting normal wagon behavior, An unexpected throttle input had severe consequences. Plymouth's internal documentation on this configuration is fragmentary. Some researchers believe that was deliberate. Others believe the builds were genuinely unauthorized, assembled without proper factory approval, possibly through specific dealerships connected to Plymouth's performance division. A federal directive was issued. How many vehicles it captured? Unknown. Estimated production? 11 to 30 units. In 2019, one researcher reported locating what appeared to be legitimate factory documentation for a surviving 4406 Pack Sport Suburban. Build sheet, window sticker, partial service history. The vehicle's location was not disclosed. No follow-up was ever published. That car may still exist. Nobody knows who has it.